Hi, my name is Nicholas Gonzalez, and today I'm reading my story, The Skull. Alan the tax collector worked for the king. At the end of each year, the king asked him to collect 2,000 pounds from each and every person in England. Alan did exactly that, but there was a catch the king did not know of. When Alan went out to collect the taxes from the people, he would take 5 pounds extra from each person for himself. Neither the peasants nor the king knew about this robbery, because before he went back to the castle to give the king the taxes, he'd secretly drop off the extra money he got in his house. In short, he was greedy. He'd been going on like this for 5 years. Little did he know the next year would be his last. Alan had been going to the riches, the new people in town, ready to tax them, when he noticed a skull lying in the middle of the path. He could tell by the flat surface of the base of it that it had been cut by an executioner's axe. Ha, Alan laughed. Sometimes I wonder how foolish people like you get killed like this. To his surprise, the skull spoke back to him. I'm sorry, what was that? A mischievous grin crawled over Alan's face. He talked the skull into a deal. The deal was that the skull would sing and talk to people to get Alan even more money if Alan carried it around. After Alan collected all the taxes, he went into the square, made the skull do its performing act, and got half as much as he usually earned from collecting taxes. A few days after he found the skull, he heard 2 people discussing about his find. That skull is awesome, one man commented. Bill, if he went to the king and performed that act, he would earn at least 40,000 pounds. The other man replied, but you know the king, if that skull is a trick, well then... He pulled his finger across his neck with a frightened expression on his face. The men kept on talking, but Alan was too deep in thought to listen to them. What if I went to the king? Would he pay me double since I'm his tax collector? He pondered. Finally, he came to a decision. Sire, the tax collector wants to show you a... What? Who dares interrupt my royal lunch? The king interrupted. It's me, sire, your messenger. The tax collector wants to... What does he want? Is he back from collecting taxes? The king shouted again. The tax collector wants to show you a talking skull, the royal messenger said in one breath. Well, bring him in, the king demanded, wondering what his messenger just said. Alan walked into the great hall with a grin on his face and a skull in his hand. That's funny. Why would the tax collector bring a skull to me? I already have many in my collection, the king thought. Your Majesty, I've found a talking skull, Alan said. What? That's preposterous. If this is fake, you'll go to the guillotine, the king said in outrage. But if it's real, I'll give you my guest room and 6,000 pounds. I'll give you 1 minute to make the skull talk. Your time starts now. Okay, come on, skull, start talking, Alan demanded. The skull was quiet. Come on, let's go, skull, talk, Alan said impatiently. The skull stayed quiet. 30 seconds, the king shouted. Hurry up, skull, talk now, Alan said. Little beads of sweat trailed down his face and back. 15 seconds, the king shouted again. Alan screamed at the top of his lungs. Talk, you stupid skull! 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Alan brought his arm back and pitched the skull at the wall. The skull hit the wall and fell unharmed to the ground. Get rid of them both, the king said to the executioner. The skull grinned as he was carried back to the forest. In the distance, he could hear the sickening chop of the guillotine. His smile got bigger. A few minutes later, the skull heard footsteps and a plop. He glanced at the source of the noise. It was Alan, or his head at least. The skull chuckled to himself. He had finally killed someone in the Daddles family tree. He went back to resting, patiently waiting for his next victim. The end.